Welcome, friend, to the Mad Painter Show, because I'm here to paint some stuff on Imagination Station. And today I will be talking about growing out of self-sabotage. So if you've had the tendency or felt like you've had the tendency of self-sabotaging yourself, your relationships, your work environment, good, you're in the right place. Because first we're going to start off looking at how do we go about self-sabotaging ourselves? Because this is where it starts and growing out of it. If you are feeling insecure or overly secure and you letting that thing work up in you, self-sabotage. If you've heard yourself speak in such a way like, I did this, I'm the one who did this, you need me in order to get that done, can't nobody do this but me, self-sabotage. If you're the type that's like, I already know, I don't want to listen, I already know. You may not say you know everything, but you got that feeling within you that you know everything and you don't need to listen to what they're saying because you already know. Self-sabotage, just in case I needed to get a little bit louder than a helicopter. If you're the type that's looking at situations that's like, this is going so good right now, I know something bad about to happen. I just know it. I know. Self-sabotage. So my reflective question with this growing out of self-sabotage is, what are you telling yourself? What are you telling yourself about yourself? What are you telling yourself about relationships? And what are you telling yourself about the environment, about what's going on? What do you say? Like my great mentor, he says these great, wonderful short quotes. And one of them is, the story that you tell yourself shapes your future. Friend, what are you telling yourself? Because we be looking at this stuff like this is truth. This is law. And I'm going to believe everything I tell myself. Friend, do you know that you be lying to yourself? Because I'm going to give you an example. Just right here. When you tell yourself, I can do it, I can do it, you make moves. You make moves towards going to do that there thing because you believe you can do it. But when you tell yourself, I can't do this, I cannot do this, it's just not going to happen, everything up in you is like, we sure ain't. We not doing this. It's not going to happen, friend. I apologize. It's not going to be done today. So you're not going to make any moves toward it because you've already told yourself that we can't. I cannot do this. So that can be on a good side or the bad side, on either one of those sides. But this is where our reflection comes in at. What are you telling yourself? Because this is a big part of self-sabotage. So we have to pay attention to what it is that we're looking at as truth. Like, this is it, the be all and end all. Because it's either going to have you moving or keep you stuck. And that's a heavy thing. It's a lot happening with that. So I like to begin with manifestation. Because this is a part of mind change, how we're going about this growth. In manifestation, you're using your will, your intentions, and your imagination. See, this is why I'm working with your imagination station, friend, because we need to get up in that station and work it a little more. But I'm going to continue on. So it's included with the will, intention, imagination, and also being or giving thankfulness, because you're in expectation of whatever it is that you desire to materialize. We're going to look at Google step by step, which is a collective of the manifestation process, which I'm keeping it kind of short. 1, clarify exactly what it is that you want. 2, visualize the outcome daily. 3, audit your limiting belief. 4, take inspired action. 5, practice gratitude. And all of these things explain how to go about working your mind as opposed to your mind working you. Friend, when we get caught up in our headspace and fantasy land and la la land, or we in anger or whatever it is that we're caught up in here that has absolutely nothing to do with our purpose, it is a distraction. And the distraction, why do I keep messing this up? and the distraction is the destruction of your dream and your dream in slow motion, your purpose in slow motion. I wasn't about to start this video, but friend, I apologize for getting that a bit confused. But I still want us to remember what my mentor is talking about, along with going deeper in this, because we need not be distracted. Because the distraction is the destruction of your dream in slow motion. Anywho. And so when we are distracted by things that are happening in our mind and we are staying in this cycle, paying somebody back, trying to relive something in our memories, it's a distraction, friend. We are made to grow. Even if certain parts of our body isn't growing anymore because we've reached a certain age, there are still parts of us that's still growing. So friend, we are learning to work our brains. Distractive memories, self-awareness of that. We need to know when we going too far off into the movies, into our mind, if it has nothing to do with where we're going or what it is that we're trying to do, we're not using our imagination for that. We're also having a heightened self-awareness of negative thoughts. So you see how I mentioned earlier, as far as if you believe that you can't do. Now, there are some things where you feel like, no, I shouldn't be doing this, so I can't do that. That's a different kind of we need not go in that direction. But then where there are paths for us that we need to move forward in, we don't want to self-sabotage ourselves by telling ourselves no and not actually being willing to make that step that we're afraid to make. And so when we start paying attention to, we know we have to do this, we know this is something that we need to work on, or whatever have you, you don't want to keep telling yourself, nah, we can't do that, I don't have time for this. And this is where we're aware of those negative thoughts or language and changing those things. This working and learning how to work our minds also is teaching us mental focus, because you're learning how to shift whatever is happening up there. And it's not a thing where it's just going by, but you're actually working to focus on a particular thought, working on focusing on a particular feeling. But even though I went through and explaining all of that, like that was just also important in explaining, because it is, I'm going to tell you a very, very important secret. Come closer. So the number one step in manifestation, the process already starts the journey in self-sabotage. Do you know why, friend? Because it's all about you, what you want to visualize. Now, if you've listened to any of my videos in the past, I've talked about how your desires bring self-sabotage. And if you haven't heard any of my videos in the past, I'm going to say it again. Your desires have a way of bringing self-sabotage, because we may desire these things. Yeah, we know all about it on the outside and this, that, and the other, and got the plan for this, that, and the other. Once we get it, and we're all so thankful. But we don't really manifest the rules on how to be responsible for this thing that we want, whether this is a person or a thing. And then a lot of times when it's a thing, we get what we want, and we're like kids on Christmas. I'm done playing with that. Time to manifest something else. So here we're going back to this reflective thinking again. Okay, we're back to reflective time. Reflective time. Aleister Crowley, Aleister Crowley was known as the Beast. And he had a saying, a quote, or whatever, which his was short too and very memorable. Do as thou willst. So in reflecting on his quote and doing what we want to do, what we will, what we desire, how is this any different from this man's thinking? From his doing what he wills, and he was considered as the beast and not as the holy beast of God. I mean, when they talking about getting a mark, they not talking about a whole, I'm sure it's possible there is a mark, but they're not talking about the mark of the lamb, which there is a mark. But still, it's not like that. It's called the mark of the beast because it's in your physical. The lamb marks you different, and it's a whole nother covering, and I digress. Yet it still has something to do with this, but with Aleister Crowley. How is this any different than how he's thinking? And I mean, brother man practiced some things because he believed he could. Now, this is where we go to this whole thing. Just because we believe we can and have the ability to do so, does that mean that we should? And if you have not questioned that in none of your manifestation, self-sabotage. I had to throw that F up in there to add some oomph up in there. Like, yeah, this is serious. This is some real self-sabotage. But yet, friend, we are growing out of it. So shifting what we should be doing. This is how we're going about shifting our thinking. What is it that we should actually be doing? Consider this, friend. Life is bigger than what it is that you want to manifest. Because you know why? Because you're only thinking about you. You are only thinking about you. And when you throw that pebble in the pond to do the ripple or the skipple, you only thinking about you and how you want the pebble to skip, but you ain't thought about how none of them vibrations is affecting the stuff up under the pond or none of that stuff. Even though we're just going with the pond. But I'm just saying. So it's like, friend, this stuff is so much bigger. Your purpose, what you are here for, is bigger than just you. Even if you are looking at yourself as a gift, what the heck kind of gift is it? What kind of gift is a gift that's just in a box that's not given? Is it really a gift? You're just sitting there collecting dust, enjoying yourself. That's no fun. That's not a gift. My apologies, friend. I just kind of went off into a thing because this is how serious I am about this whole growing out of self-sabotage, because we growing about this. So, and looking at this, I want. We have to get past what it is that you want. Because when in looking at the manifestation, a lot of the times when people are considering manifesting something, it is something outside of themselves. We're looking to go deeper. This is the only way that we're going to go perceive the bigger, is we got to go deeper. And going within it and going deeper, and it's bigger than you. And so we have a whole world around us. You have a whole world within you. You got a whole world on you. It's a whole community of stuff happening that you can't even see on top of your skin, that if you could see it, it'll probably freak you out. And so in looking at how we ourselves have layers, it's a whole thing happening with us that we aren't even aware that's going on. That, like, if you was really going to manifest some stuff, you could probably manifest some healing or something within your body. We'll get to that later. But, and looking and seeing, we have bones, nerves, veins, muscles, layers of flesh, hair, cells. Your body is going from micro to macro, the small and the big, all in one unit. So this is where we're looking at the whole G-unit. That just came to me while I was saying this, because this is the part where getting to know God. You see how excited I am? I just started sweating, friends. When we focus on God and His will and getting to know Him, this is how we grow out of self-sabotage, because we want to know what God's will is for us. We want to know about God. Have this interest, Because it's like you want to know he's right here. It's like a face-to-face sitting, but he's hidden. So it's like, oh my God. Did you ever play the game Where's Waldo? The little dude with the striped shirt, and he got the glasses and the jeans and the little hat on, and you got to find him amongst the population of people. Oh my God, that's like finding God. But it's not, because he's easy to find, but you got to know what he looks like. I used to love finding Waldo. Anyway, that's what made me think about that, because in you searching the word, you get to see what he looks like. So there is this thing where it's scripture somewhere I didn't look for it. Forgive me of my lack of looking for it. But somewhere in the scripture is saying, as far as if you see the face of God, you die. But then there's another part where it says, seek my face daily. So the flesh part in reading that was like, well, if that's saying that and that's saying that, WTF, what is that really saying? But the spiritual side is letting you know, yes, seek my face, but it's going to take you, your flesh, to die. And in connection with that flesh dying, that is your desires, your will. Ain't no will I am up in this. This is God's will. So you want to know what God's will is. This is what expands our prayer life. Because when we're first going to God in the flesh, it's all about what you want. God ain't no, I don't care what the secret said. God ain't no, you just rub him the right way and ask him for what you want and he gonna give it to you. This is relationship here. Do you want somebody to rub you and be like, I just rub on your booty, give me $50,000. You gonna look at them like they crazy. You probably be like, give me $50,000 for you rubbing on my booty. I just marinate on it, friend, as a relationship thing. This is real talk here, Mad Painter style. Did you imagination that rubbing? That's what I'm talking about. High five. Okay, where am I? So we're looking to see God, and we want to know what he has to say to us. What is his will? What is his purpose for us? What about him? Like, what's going on with this love situation? What's happening with this? So this is where the spiritual part begins, because God is spiritual. And so you have to learn the language. You have to know what he looks like in the spiritual. So trippy thing is too, is that he got it in the flesh as well, although it's not here, because we are in representation of that if you choose. But if you listen to this, you have been chosen. Receive the call, friend, because part of receiving this call is growing out of self-sabotage. Because when we lay that wheel down, lay that wheel down and look at God's will and keep paying attention to that. And I mean, friend, it's a process. It's a process. It ain't a thing like, oh yeah, I'm looking at your will today and I'm covered. I mean, you covered, but it's like you still want to think about marriage. Because people look at this thing in a way like marriage, and people are going to marriage like, oh, I can't wait. I've been waiting to be a husband. I've been waiting to be a wife. We go back to this manifestation, but you ain't manifest your responsibilities, did you? And even if you did, you manifested your responsibilities how you want it to be done, but not how that other person wanted to be done. We gotta consider the other people, what they will is. So this is why we are looking at God's will and sitting down, reading his word, asking him questions, praying, being thankful. Now we go back to this whole manifestation. Where are that manifestation notes at? So I'm looking at the manifestation notes. I'm going to go back to this short list. 1, clarify exactly what God tells you he wants. Bam! I just dropped the mic right there. The thing about it is, it takes some time. And this is why I'm talking about this in relationship thing, because it's not we go in this thing, I do this, and it's the results I get, and this is the results I'm expecting. Friend, where this relationship come in, and how it's not just a consciousness thing, it is a relationship thing. Because if it's something that you are manifesting, you see, you are providing self-sabotage, but something that, here, this is what I want it to look exactly like this, and you're giving God the blueprint, you're not allowing him to show you his word, because in his word, he will show you above anything you ask, think, or imagine. So we have, who is that? Not Moses. I always get him, Abraham. So here we have Abraham, and a situation in which God is showing him how many children that he was going to have. The plan that God had for Abraham, which Abraham didn't see, his name wasn't even Abraham, which has something to do with the father of many or something like that, but his name was Abram. And we just got that last part, it's kind of broke off, so it's like he didn't even have that full name, but God gave him the father name before he became a father. So it's like, we want to get this word because God is going to give us this word, and he's going to process us to prepare us for the word that he gave us. So with this thing with Abraham, God's plan was so massive, so grand, that he gave him the stars as an example of what to count, and the sand. Tell me how in your imagination station you'd have been able to envision all those people on your own, and you've never seen that multitude of people before. So you would have been, I mean, I'm just going to speak on myself. I can't say you, friend, but I'm just sitting here thinking like, I'd have been thinking like, okay, how far can I see? I can see to right there and right there. All them people filled with my kids. Bigger than that. So this is why we want to make room for God. Let God, to see what God's will is. Because in being there, done that, friend, I know at first it's like, God, are you sure this is what you want? Because I don't feel comfortable. Good. Because it's not going to feel comfortable. But friend, for the plan that he has for you and what he's preparing you for, you're going to be happy that you've been moved out of that comfort zone. You're going to be happy that you went through that process. That's where the trust in the process is, because God is processing you. And so when we are in a place of seeking the wisdom of God and applying the wisdom that God gives us, and how we're going about this is reading, praying, spending intimate, quiet time with him, writing down things, chewing on the scriptures, taking time with it, taking time with God and asking him questions, and putting yourself in a place to receive the answers. Because if you just spewing out what you want, and not putting yourself in a place to receive, friend, how are you going to get the answer? So we're growing out of self-sabotage. We're being patient. We're allowing, even if if you're having a hard time being patient, this is going to be part of the process, because trust, friend, it's going to be worked out of you. You're going to be patient. You're going to learn to be patient. But it's a good thing, because it's going to make you so much stronger. So as your relationship develops, you'll be quicker to seek out the wisdom of God, because now you see that you can trust him. Now you see that his word is the truth, because once you're applying this word, now flesh, when you're in the flesh, there are so many words in the Bible, so many scriptures that seem contradictory. But this is where the Spirit comes in at, because when it's time to apply this when it's time to apply this specific word at this specific time, it will be spoken to you inwardly and will also be confirmed outwardly. We are being processed so that we will know the voice of God, and we're learning to be sensitive to this. This is what's going to grow us out of self-sabotage, because we're no longer looking to ourselves. We're no longer the answer to everything. Got this. you are now depending on God. And it's not like a thing like, yeah, I'm just sitting there waiting on him to do everything. No, there is a work for you to do, because there is still a working of your mind. And instead of just daily affirmations, replacing positive thoughts and images with the negative one, this is a thing where we're now applying this wisdom and the word of God to ourselves daily. We're putting it in. We're listening to people who are in relationship, who are expanding on the things that you're learning about God. And we're also having these conversations with God ourselves, always being thankful, always being thankful. And when we are at a place of being and hear me, friend, not doing, being thankful, it is in your being. That starts to work out the kinks of themselves, sabotage. Because a lot of times when we are self-sabotaging, we are not being accountable. And this is where we're taking time, reflecting, talking to God, letting him work out the root issue of those things, and you're allowing yourself to be processed day by day by day, friend. And you shall grow out of self-sabotage. Trust. Just invest some time into it, friend, because you're investing time into yourself and in your relationships. Because if you're going to think about you, think about how God sees you and change the story that you're telling yourself, and let him shape your future. I love you. God loves you even more. Find out why. Get this experience, because baby, the peace and the joy, I can't even explain it. Because you're going to grow out this. You're going to grow out this and stand firm and tall. Because you got it. You got it, friend. I love you. Till next time. Like, share, and subscribe.